What game are we playing?
Yut Nori, I think, but to be honest, I don't know what we're doing. Right there.
That's what it is. So it is better probably to get one.
Whoa!
What? They put weights in them.
Why hello, I didn't quite see you there. There you are. Zoom in a little bit. Oh, way too far. Zoom out, zoom out. Now I know what you may be thinking. John, what are we doing in your completely empty apartment room? It's a funny story, that is. You see, on day 6 of orientation, I actually filmed much less than I thought I did. Like, much less than I thought I did. So while going over the footage, I thought, well, instead of showing them what happened during orientation, why don't I explain it in story mode? This is what happened on day 6 of orientation.
As usual, I woke up at 7 a.m. to the morning announcements. The reason I sleep fully clothed is to save time in the mornings. Everyone else does that, right? Although the amount I vlogged on day 6 was subpar, I did manage to film this small bit about the pillow. You know, one thing I keep forgetting to mention in these vlogs is that our pillow is actually stuffed with straw. Now, I know what you're thinking. Straw like, you know, hay, like grass? No. What I mean is, literally, cut up bits of plastic straws. That's their way of recycling. You might be thinking, that's gross. It's a bunch of people's old straws, and I tend to agree. Hopefully they went through a heavy bleaching process. But, surprisingly, not that uncomfortable. You'd be surprised. James and I then headed for breakfast to have a well-balanced meal. Keep in mind this is 100% a dramatization. Just look at my tray. You notice how the banana isn't cut into pieces? Yeah, sorry, I didn't do that great on the reenactment. Next, we headed off to our first of 4 lectures that day, lesson planning number 2. Instead of watching a presentation this time, we used this block to work on the lesson demo and lesson plan with our partners. As you can see, here I am working diligently with my partner.
With this picture, I mean, look at this. This is high quality stuff.
We didn't have enough time to completely finish everything, but it was enough to get some progress done. There was still one more day to finish it up, so I wasn't that worried about it anyway. Next, we had elementary school curriculum, which talked a lot about the books that we'll be using. And you know what? Instead of explaining it, why don't I just take you with me? Here, using this magic chair. Please join me on this magic chair bit ride. Here we go. Whoa. Welcome to my classroom. Let's go check this out. Well, if you're like me and you teach 4 grades, this is the book you'll get. Oh, sorry, these are the books you'll get. Massive, and these are just the teacher's books. Never mind the students' books you get to go along with them. So these books are pretty straightforward. They're usually broken down into, 4 to 5 parts. So A, B, C, D, and in this case E. They're nice to use on occasion. So I try to use them sparingly and mostly just run off my own PowerPoints and supplement with the book, especially if there's extra time, and occasionally do the song or chant. Kids, depending on their age, the 3rd graders and 4th graders even really love them. The 5th and 6th graders, not as excited about the songs. Usually have them listen to this 3 times. First time, just listen. Second time, listen with the subtitles. And then 3rd time, repeat after me.
Hello, I'm Kate. Hi, I'm Uju.
This is probably one of my all-time favorite videos so far. I tend to prefer the live action to the cartoons because they're just so hilarious. I really struggle to not laugh in class when we're playing these. You'll see why.
Hello, Nick. Hello, Sora. Sora! Bye, Nick. Bye, Sora.
What an absolute masterpiece. And this was actually nominated for several awards, including Best Supporting Actor. My favorite part of all is the 5-second pause between the start of the video and then the first piece of dialogue.
Hi, I'm Kate. Hi, I'm Woodrow. Nice to meet you, Woodrow. Nice to meet you too. Bye, bye, Woodrow. Bye, bye, Kate. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye.
For some reason, they love this dance right here where you put your arms on your hips and then you bend your knees. I think they just animated it once, and then now they just copy and paste that for every single model that they have, the 3D models.
You can do that. You can be an English teacher at EPIK.
Something else the presenter showed us was that there's a little pen icon here, and you can just draw anywhere. It's useful for like pointing things out, like, oh, this is the chalkboard, this is a chair, and it's also fun to just fool around with. After that, it was time for lunch as usual. James, Simon, how's it going, guys? After lunch, it was time for our third lecture, storytelling. This was exactly how it sounded. It was practice talking with the right pace and tone for storytelling to not only captivate students more, but to get them to understand the information better by putting emphasis on certain words.
There's no one to talk to, and there's nothing to do. What can I do for fun? The 3 villagers follow the shepherd boy up the hill. They all carry sticks to drive away the wolf. Where is it? Yes, where is the wolf? Did it go away? Perhaps. There is no wolf. I was just bored. Never lie. Gets sheep killed. Sheeple.
Finally, the last lecture, Cooperative Learning, was about how to best utilize communicative activities in pair work to get students practicing English in the classroom. I somehow managed to press the record button for the second time that day.
Generally what you're in charge of, but towards the end I'll make a couple of like special mentions of literacy activities. If we have time, we'll do at least one.
It was finally time for dinner and then Korean class.
Just beat us.
Do it again.
Just do it.
So Steven,
Two more.
what game are we playing?
Yut Nori, I think, but to be honest, I don't know what we're doing.
In class, we played a game called Yut Nori, a game traditionally played during the Korean New Year. It involves throwing 4 wooden sticks into the air, called yut. The yut are flat on one side and rounded on the other with writing. Depending on what side the yut lands, determines how many spaces a player can move. If 3 out of 4 of the sticks land flat side up, without the writing, and 1 lands rounded side up, with the writing, the player can move 1 space. 2 rounded up is 2 spaces, 3 is 3 spaces, and all 4 sticks rounded side up, the player can move 5 spaces. However, if all 4 sticks land flat side up, the player can move 4 spaces and then can toss the sticks again, making this the best move possible. The goal is to move around the board Monopoly style and make it back to home. If a player lands on the same space as another player, it forces them to move back to home. If a player lands on the same space as a team member, they can piggyback and progress as a single unit. Finally, if a player lands on one of the special corner tiles, they can take a shortcut during their next move. Although at first we kept sending players back to home and it seemed like there would be no end to the game, we finally had a winner. The prize? They were the first to receive a snack bag. Winner!
Ba, 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 ba.